full context and detail. The link to the complete book is in the description and the pinned comment below. But right now, let's keep going because it gets even more interesting. Chapter 2 is where things shift from awareness to action. Picture a young man walking through the busy streets of Cleveland. Opportunities everywhere. Temptations everywhere. Other young men his age are spending their first paychecks, showing off, chasing comfort. But not Rockefeller. His pockets aren't empty, but his mind is full of something most people never develop: control. Here's the truth that nobody in the self-help world wants to say out loud. Your biggest problem isn't money. It's not your boss, your city, or your circumstances. It's the gap between what you know and what you actually do. You know you should save. You know you should work consistently. You know you should avoid distractions. But what do you actually do? You scroll. You spend impulsively. You quit when it gets hard. At 16, Rockefeller got his first job as a bookkeeper. Low pay, long hours. Most people would complain and quit. He did something completely different. He treated it like training. He learned how money flows through a business. He studied numbers obsessively. He became addicted to accuracy. He wasn't working for money. He was working for skill. And that distinction, that single mindset shift, is what separated him from every other 16-year-old in that city. Most people think discipline means restriction, sacrifice, boredom. Rockefeller understood the opposite. Discipline is freedom. When you control your habits, you control your outcomes. It's really that simple and really that hard. Now here's where the story gets cinematic. The 1860s. America is transforming. Factories are rising. Cities are expanding. And one thing is becoming more valuable than almost anything else: oil. Most people see the opportunity and react the same way. They start small businesses. They compete with each other. They fight for customers. Crowded, noisy, chaotic. But one man sees something entirely different. Rockefeller doesn't ask, "How do I make money in oil?" He asks something far more dangerous. How do I control the entire system? That one question changed everything. In 1870, he founded Standard Oil, but he didn't build it the way everyone else built their companies. He didn't just drill for oil. He focused on refining it where the real profit was. He controlled transportation through railroad deals. He controlled distribution. He owned every step of the process. This strategy, owning the supply, the production, and the distribution, is called vertical integration. And while every other company was out there competing, Rockefeller was quietly building a machine that made competition almost irrelevant. He negotiated secret deals with railroad companies to get lower shipping rates than any of his competitors could access. His costs went down. His prices could go lower. His competitors slowly suffocated. And then he bought them out, or he crushed them. By the early 1900s, Standard Oil controlled nearly 90% of U.S. oil refining. 90%. The government eventually forced the company to break apart, calling it a monopoly. But here's the irony. When Standard Oil was broken up into smaller companies, Rockefeller owned shares in all of them. He got even richer. If the full story of how he built that empire is something you want to understand in detail, every move, every strategy, every lesson, the book link is in the description. It breaks down each chapter in a way that's practical, not just historical. But let's keep moving, because chapter 4 is where it gets controversial. Rockefeller wasn't just disciplined. He was ruthless in strategy. He made aggressive deals. He undercut competitors. He bought struggling businesses at low prices. He forced consolidation of an entire industry. To some people, he was a genius. To others, he was dangerous. But here's the uncomfortable truth the book doesn't shy away from. He did what others were too emotional or too afraid to do. Most people avoid difficult decisions. They fear judgment. They stay comfortable. They say things like, "I don't want to be too aggressive," or "What if people don't like me?" And because of that, they stay average. Rockefeller didn't act based on feelings. He acted based on logic, long-term vision, and calculated outcomes. Before any move, his question was simple. What decision gives me the most control? Not what feels comfortable. Not what looks nice. What gives me control? Now, the book is very clear about something important here. Being strategic does not mean being unethical. It doesn't mean hurting people. It means being serious about your goals. It means making decisions that others avoid. It means choosing growth over comfort every single time, even when it's uncomfortable. And this leads us into what might be the most important chapter in the entire book. Chapter 5. Money is a system, not luck. By this point in Rockefeller's life, the empire is built. Pipelines are running. Refineries are operating. Money is flowing. But here's the strange part. He isn't working harder. He's actually doing less. Yet his wealth keeps growing. Why? Because he had made the shift that almost no one makes. He stopped trading time for money. He built systems that made money without him having to be there. Most people think like this: work more, earn more. Stop working, stop earning. That's not freedom. That's a trap dressed up as a job. Rockefeller thought differently. He built efficient processes, long-term contracts, distribution networks that ran on their own. Money didn't depend on him working every day. It depended on the system working every day. Think about that in modern terms. One YouTube video can generate income for years. One digital product can be sold unlimited times. One high-value skill can command fees that would take a regular worker months to earn. This is the difference between being busy and being wealthy, and most people never figure it out. The book lays out a practical 4-step blueprint for building your own income system, starting from zero with no special advantages. It's one of the most actionable parts of the entire read. And if that's the kind of depth you're looking for, the link is in the description, and genuinely, it's worth it. But we have one more chapter, and this is the one that hits differently. Chapter 6. Legacy over luxury. An old man sits quietly in a garden. No chouse, no competition, no urgency. The empire still echoes his name. He has everything people spend their whole lives chasing: wealth, power, influence. But now he's asking a different question. What is all of this for? Most people never get to this question. They spend their lives chasing more money, more things, more status, and they never stop to ask what happens after they get it. Rockefeller did, and his answer reshaped the world. After building his fortune, he didn't just sit on it. He gave strategically. He funded education systems. He invested in medical research. He built public health programs. He helped establish the University of Chicago. He created the Rockefeller Foundation, which still exists and still operates today, more than 100 years later. He didn't just earn money. He built impact, and that impact outlived him. Here's the brutal truth the book doesn't sugarcoat. If your only goal is money, you will eventually feel empty. Because money is a tool. It's not the destination. The people who get remembered aren't the ones who accumulated the most. They're the ones who contributed the most. That's the full arc of this book. A poor boy with a ledger becomes the world's first billionaire. But the real story isn't about the money. It's about awareness, tracking what you have. Discipline, controlling what you do. Strategy, building control instead of just competing. Tough decisions, choosing growth when comfort is right there. Systems, creating income that works without you. And legacy, building something that outlives you. This book isn't a biography you read once and forget. It's a framework you return to. If you want the full experience, every chapter, every story, every practical step, the link is in the description and pinned in the comments. Go check it out. And if this video gave you even one idea that shifts how you think about money or discipline or building your future, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Because the ledger is open. The question is, what are you writing in it?